Before you close your eyes completely, imagine a world without the noise of modern life. No engines, no notifications, no ticking clocks. Just the deep, rhythmic breathing of a planet teeming with life. Tonight, we aren't just going to sleep. We are traveling back millions of years. We will explore the majestic, slow-moving world of dinosaurs, not as monsters, but as masterpieces of biology. Through the lens of science and the comfort of history, let the heavy footsteps of giants rock you into a deep, peaceful slumber. Welcome to Relaxing Facts About Dinosaurs to help you sleep. Close your eyes now and let the heaviness of your eyelids signal to your body that it is time to rest, time to disconnect from the screens and the lights and the demands of the modern world. And as you lie there, feeling the support of the bed beneath you, I want you to imagine that you are drifting backward through the mist of time, moving slowly and gently past the years, past the centuries, past the millennia, until the noise of the cities fades into a profound and heavy silence, and you find yourself standing on the edge of a world that is both familiar and entirely alien. A world bathed in the golden light of the Cretaceous period, where the very air you breathe is the first thing to welcome you home. In this ancient time, the earth is breathing deeply, and the atmosphere is rich and dense, filled with a concentration of oxygen that is far higher than what we know today, making the air feel thick and sweet like a warm blanket that wraps around your skin. And as you take a deep breath in this imaginary landscape, you can feel the difference immediately, for the air is heavy with life and vitality, carrying the moisture of a planet that is essentially a giant greenhouse, warm and humid and incredibly comforting. There is a scent here that is sharp and clean, the smell of pine resin baking in the sun, mixed with the earthy aroma of damp soil and crushed ferns, a smell that instinctively lowers your heart rate and clears your mind of any lingering stress. Because here, in this primeval forest, there are no schedules and no deadlines. There is only the slow and rhythmic cycle of the sun rising and setting over a landscape of infinite green. Look around you and notice the colors, for this is a world before the invention of grass, so you will not see the manicured lawns of the suburbs, but instead you see a floor covered in a velvet carpet of mosses and liverworts and low-growing ferns that are soft and springy to the touch. And if you were to walk barefoot across this ancient ground, it would feel cool and damp, soothing the soles of your feet as you move silently through the shadows of the canopy. The plants here are not just decorations, they are titans. Fueled by the rich oxygen levels, they grow to sizes that defy our modern understanding, with ferns that unfurl like massive green sails catching the wind, and horsetails that shoot up from the marshy ground like bamboo forests, creating walls of vertical green lines that blur the horizon. Above you, the sky is a piercing shade of azure blue, deeper and clearer than any sky you have seen in the city, because there is absolutely no pollution here, only the pure mixture of gases that sustain the largest animals to ever walk the earth. And as you look up, you see the towering crowns of the conifers and the araucaria trees, their needle-like leaves filtering the sunlight into shafts of gold that dance upon the forest floor. It is quiet here, but not empty. It is a silence that feels heavy and pregnant with life, a silence where the only sounds are the wind moving through the millions of pine needles, a sound like a hush, shh, that ripples through the forest like a wave, lulling everything to sleep. The high oxygen content in the atmosphere does something wonderful to your body as you visualize standing there. It makes every breath feel more efficient, so you do not need to breathe quickly. You can slow your breathing down,
deeper and slower, matching the respiratory rhythm of the giant planet. And you can imagine that this oxygen-rich air is flowing into your lungs and traveling through your bloodstream, repairing tired muscles and calming an overactive mind, bringing a sense of hyper-relaxation that feels heavy and warm in your limbs. The temperature is perfect, a steady warmth that radiates from the ground and hangs in the air, creating a humid embrace that loosens the tension in your shoulders and unknots the muscles in your back, just as the moisture in the air nourishes the giant cycads that look like palm trees but are ancient and tough, standing like sentinels in the mist. Imagine the light as it begins to change, the sun dipping slightly lower, casting long and lazy shadows through the trunks of the redwoods, turning the sap that drips from the bark into glowing jewels of amber, sticky and sweet-smelling, capturing the essence of the forest in a golden drop that might one day be found by a human millions of years in the future. But right now, it is just a drop of sap in a peaceful afternoon. There is a feeling of safety here in the density of the green, a feeling that you are hidden and protected by the sheer scale of the vegetation, because the leaves are so broad and the forests are so deep that the outside world feels light years away. And indeed it is, for you are safe in the womb of history. As you continue to breathe in this rich prehistoric air, you notice the lack of familiar sounds. There are no birds singing complex songs yet, only the occasional soft coo or trill of a primitive creature, sounds that blend seamlessly with the rustling of the leaves, creating a white noise that is purely natural, a soundscape designed by evolution to be perfectly non-intrusive. The humidity acts as a natural sound damper, absorbing sudden noises, so everything sounds slightly muffled and distant, as if you were wearing earplugs made of soft cotton. And this acoustic softness makes your eyelids feel heavier and heavier. You might see a dragonfly buzzing past, but it is not the small insect you know. It is a giant with wings that span wide, shimmering with iridescence. But it moves slowly, gliding on the thick air currents without effort, and watching its slow flight is hypnotic, back and forth, drifting on the breeze. The ground beneath the ferns is rich with decaying matter, the circle of life turning slowly, turning fallen leaves into the nutrients that will feed the next generation of giants, a reminder that everything is a cycle, that there is no rush, that nature takes its time, and so can you. In this world of oxygen and green, the concept of urgency does not exist. The plants take decades to reach maturity. The continents drift only inches over millions of years, and this immense timescale puts your own worries into perspective, shrinking them down until they are nothing more than grains of sand on a vast beach. The air is so crisp that it feels like drinking cold water, refreshing and purifying, and as you inhale, you can almost taste the greenness of the world, the chlorophyll, and the life force that permeates everything. Imagine finding a soft patch of moss at the base of a massive redwood tree. The bark is thick and fibrous, reddish-brown and warm from the day's sun, and you sit down, leaning your back against the solid wood, feeling the sturdiness of a tree that has stood for 500 years, a tree that has seen storms and droughts and starry nights and has survived them all with quiet dignity. From this vantage point, you look out into the dense forest, seeing the layers of green upon green, the dark emerald of the shadowed undergrowth, the bright lime of the new fronds unfurling in the light, the olive tones of the distant pines, a monochromatic masterpiece that rests the eyes and calms the brain. The air around you is moving gently, a soft breeze that touches your cheek like a caress,
carrying with it the moisture of the nearby ferns, a cool mist that feels refreshing against your skin, helping you to sink deeper into the mattress, deeper into relaxation. You realize that this high-oxygen world is a world of energy held in reserve, a world of potential, where giants can grow because the air supports them, just as your bed supports you now, holding you up so you don't have to hold yourself up anymore. You can let go of your muscles, let your arms go limp, let your legs become heavy, just as the heavy branches of the conifers droop towards the ground, surrendered to gravity. The visual of the ancient forest is fading slightly now, as the imaginary sun begins to set, painting the sky in hues of violet and burnt orange, colors that reflect off the waxy leaves of the magnolia-like ancestors, creating a twilight that is magical and dim. The green turns to gray, and the gray turns to black, a soft and comforting darkness that wraps around the forest like a shawl. But the air remains, that breath of the ancient earth, filling your room, filling your lungs, a bridge across time that connects you to the very origins of life. Every breath you take is a tribute to this time. Every exhale is a release of the modern day. You are safe here in the shadow of the giants, surrounded by the towering trees that stand guard over your sleep. The smell of the pine is fading into a gentle background note. The humidity is settling on the leaves as evening dew, and the world is slowing down, shifting from the active growth of the day to the restorative stillness of the night. You are part of this world now, a silent observer in the kingdom of plants, breathing the same air that fueled the dinosaurs, feeling the same peace that settled over the earth 66 million years ago. It is a world without complications, a simple world of sunlight, water, air, and growth. And as you drift deeper, you can feel the rhythm of this ancient earth syncing with your own heartbeat, slow and steady, grounded and calm. The vivid greens are now just a memory behind your closed eyelids, a soothing afterimage that promises renewal and health. You are breathing the past, and it is healing you. You are resting in the cradle of history, and it is holding you. The oxygen is rich, the sleep is deep, and the ancient earth is whispering to you that it is okay to let go. It is okay to rest, for the world will keep spinning, the trees will keep growing, and the air will keep flowing, just as it has for millions upon millions of years. As the scent of the pine and the damp earth settles around you, a new sensation begins to emerge from the stillness of the prehistoric landscape. Not a sound at first, but a feeling, a gentle vibration that travels through the soles of your feet and resonates deep within your chest. A rhythmic tremor that feels like the earth itself is humming a low and steady tune. This is the approach of the Titans, the arrival of the Alamosaurus, the true kings and queens of this Cretaceous world. Creatures so massive that they defy the laws of biology as we know them. Living mountains that move with a grace and slowness that is entirely hypnotic. You do not need to be afraid, for these are peaceful vegetarians, the gentle gardeners of the epoch. And as they emerge from the dense tree line, they block out the sun like drifting clouds, casting long and cooling shadows over the forest floor where you rest. Watch them now in your mind's eye as they step into the clearing. Their legs are like the trunks of the sequoia trees, thick and sturdy pillars of wrinkled gray skin that support tons of weight with effortless stability. And every time one of those massive feet lifts and touches the ground again, it creates that soothing thud, a sound that is deep and dull, like a heavy drum wrapped in velvet, beating a slow cadence that dictates the pace of the entire world. Thud, pause, thud, pause.
The rhythm is impossibly slow, for these creatures do not run, they do not rush, they have nowhere to be and nothing to fear. They simply exist in a state of perpetual calm. To watch a sauropod walk is to watch a glacier move. It is a display of power held in reserve. And as you visualize their movement, you can feel your own body becoming heavier, sinking deeper into the mattress, mimicking the immense weight and grounded nature of these giants. They are often called land whales, and the comparison is perfect, for they seem to swim through the thick, oxygen-rich atmosphere, just as blue whales glide through the deep ocean, their long necks swaying gently from side to side, like the masts of ships on a rolling sea, navigating the currents of the air with a languid ease that creates a sensation of weightlessness in your own mind. Look up, way up, past the massive shoulders that rise like hills, up the tapering length of the neck that stretches 40 feet into the sky, disappearing into the canopy of the tallest trees, where their small heads move with precision, stripping leaves from the branches with a soft tearing sound that floats down to you like whispers. But the most relaxing thing about these titans is not just their size, it is their internal rhythm. For inside that colossal ribcage, protected by layers of muscle and skin, beats a heart the size of a small car, a heart that is a marvel of biological engineering. Because of their immense size, their hearts do not race like ours. They do not flutter with anxiety or stress. Instead, they beat with a profound and heavy slowness, pumping the lifeblood through their massive bodies with a rhythm that is almost geological in its patience. Imagine that sound now. Hear it in the silence of the ancient afternoon, a deep, resonant boom, boom, followed by a long, silent pause, and then another boom, boom, a cycle that takes seconds to complete, a heart rate of perhaps only 6 to 10 beats per minute.
I want you to try and sync your own heart rate to this ancient tempo. Visualize your own heart slowing down, expanding and contracting with the leisurely pace of the dinosaur, letting go of the rapid-fire beat of modern life and adopting the slow, heavy, powerful rhythm of the giant. There is no rush here. Between each beat of the sauropod's heart, there is a lifetime of silence, a space where you can rest, a space where you can breathe. As you listen to this imaginary heartbeat, you feel a wave of relaxation washing over you, starting at the top of your head and flowing down like warm oil, heavy and comforting. You watch as the herd moves slowly across the plain, a river of gray bodies flowing in slow motion, their tails trailing behind them like suspension bridges, counterbalancing their long necks, swaying with a hypnotic regularity that draws your eyes back and forth, soothing your mind into a trance. The dust they kick up hangs in the humid air, catching the shafts of sunlight and turning them into solid beams of gold, creating a hazy, dreamlike atmosphere where the edges of reality blur and soften. You can see the texture of their skin, distinct and real, a mosaic of hexagonal scales that look like cobblestones, dusty and warm, bearing the scars of centuries of growth, covering a body that is warm and alive. They are a community, a family, moving together not out of fear but out of habit, touching each other gently with their snouts, low rumbles of communication vibrating in their throats, sounds that are too low for human ears to fully hear, but which you can feel as a comforting pressure in the air, a kind of natural white noise that wraps you in a sonic cocoon. One of the giants pauses near you, its massive leg planting firmly into the earth just yards away, and you feel the sheer solidity of it, the absolute grounding of a creature that is completely connected to the earth. It lowers its long neck,
the vertebrae clicking softly like heavy stones shifting, bringing its head down from the clouds to inspect a patch of ferns, its large dark eye blinking slowly, revealing a calmness that is ancient and deep. There is no intelligence of the frantic kind behind that eye, only a peaceful awareness, a simple existence of eating, walking, and being, and looking into that eye allows you to let go of your own complex thoughts, to stop analyzing, to stop planning, and just be, just like the sauropod. The majestic animal exhales, a long, drawn-out breath that stirs the leaves around you, a gust of warm, moist air that smells of chewed pine needles and fermentation, a scent that is strangely comforting, the smell of life itself. You watch as it lifts its head again, the movement smooth and hydraulic, rising back up to the sun, back to the world above the trees, where the wind is stronger. The herd is moving away from you now, their silhouettes becoming dark shapes against the bright sky, their rhythmic marching fading into a gentle pulse in the ground, fading, fading, fading. You are left with the feeling of their presence, the feeling of heaviness, of slowness, of a world where things happen in their own time. You realize that you too can be a giant in your sleep.
You can be heavy and slow. You can take up space in your bed and let gravity do all the work. The image of the sauropods drifting like land whales stays with you, a visual mantra of slow motion. You imagine their slow digestion, the slow processing of tons of plant matter, a biological furnace burning on a low, steady setting, providing a consistent warmth that you can almost feel radiating from the history books. In this moment, you understand that speed is an illusion of the modern world, but slowness is the truth of the universe. The planets turn slowly, the continents drift slowly, and the sauropods walk slowly. And by joining them in this tempo, you align yourself with the natural order of things. Your breath has slowed to match theirs, deep and full, filling your lungs completely before slowly releasing, just as they do. Your heart is calm, beating with a powerful, deliberate rhythm. The anxiety of the day has been crushed under the weight of their footsteps, flattened into the prehistoric dirt, leaving only peace behind. As the last of the great tails disappears into the mist of the forest, you feel a profound sense of safety, knowing that these titans are the guardians of the canopy, watching over the world from their great height, allowing the smaller creatures, allowing you, to rest in the shadows they cast. The sun is filtering through the dust they left behind, creating a golden haze that feels like twilight, signaling the end of the day, the end of effort. You are drifting now, just like them, drifting on a sea of soft sheets, your body feeling as large and heavy as an Alamosaurus, sinking, sinking, sinking into the earth. The vibration of their steps is now just a memory, a phantom rhythm that rocks you gently like a cradle. You are a titan of sleep now, immovable and peaceful, your mind wandering through the amber forests, following the tracks of the giants, moving further and further away from the waking world, marching slowly into the land of dreams. There is nothing left to do but to follow them, to let the current of deep time carry you along, floating, heavy and serene. The air around you is still, the ground is stable, and the giants have paved the way for a night of unbroken rest. You are safe, you are heavy, you are slow. The world is large, and you are small and comforted. The rhythmic march continues in the distance, a lullaby of thunder and grace, guiding you down, down, down into the deepest, most restorative sleep imaginable. Now that your eyes have adjusted to the soft light of the ancient forest, and your breathing has synced with the slow march of the giants, I want you to shift your focus to the sounds of this world. But to do so, you must first unlearn everything you think you know. You must let the Hollywood myths dissolve like mist in the morning sun, because the movies told us that dinosaurs roared, that they screamed with open mouths like lions or dragons, shattering the peace of the jungle. But the fossil record tells us a different story, a quieter story, a story that is infinitely more relaxing for you tonight. As you lie there in the safety of your bed, imagine that the prehistoric world around you is not filled with terrifying shrieks, but rather with a deep and resonant hum, a sonic landscape that is more like a chant than a battle cry. Science has looked at the delicate bones of the dinosaur throat and found that many of them did not have the vocal cords to roar. Instead, they communicated like the largest birds and crocodiles we see today, through closed-mouth vocalizations, which means they kept their massive jaws shut tight and pushed air through an inflated throat pouch, creating a sound that didn't just travel through the air, but traveled through the ground and through the bodies of everyone nearby. Imagine a giant dove, the size of a bus, perched unseen in the canopy, and imagine the sound of a coo, that soft, mournful, soothing sound a dove makes in the early morning. Now deepen that sound, pitch it down, lower and lower until it becomes a bass note so deep that it sits on the very edge of human hearing. This is the true sound of the dinosaur, a low-frequency rumble that starts deep in the chest and rolls out like distant thunder, a sound that is felt as much as it is heard. These are the low-frequency lullabies of the Cretaceous, and they are surrounding you now, wrapping you in a blanket of vibration. Scientists call this infrasound, sound waves that are so long and slow that they can travel for miles through the dense vegetation without losing their power, passing through the trunks of the redwoods and the thickets of ferns, and finally passing through you. Imagine you are standing near a Tyrannosaur or a Triceratops that is resting, and it decides to speak to its mate. You would see the throat expand, swelling like a balloon, and then you would feel it, a gentle pressure against your sternum, a vibration in your rib cage that feels like the purr of a giant cat, comforting and steady. This sensation is known to release tension in the body, acting like a sonic massage that penetrates deep into your muscles, loosening knots and soothing aches. It is the ultimate white noise machine, nature's original sleep soundtrack, a constant low-level thrum that masks all other distractions. As you listen to this imaginary soundscape, think of the sound of a cello being played in an empty hall, that lowest string vibrating, rich and woody and warm, filling the space with a somber beauty. That is the voice of the dinosaur. It is not aggressive, it is communicative. It is a mother signaling to her young, a herd member saying, "I am here, I am safe, and you are safe too." The air of the Mesozoic is thick and humid, which carries these bass tones perfectly, creating a heavy, enveloping atmosphere where the sound seems to hug you.
You can hear the rhythmic chuffing of a nearby herbivore, a sound like a steam engine idling at a station. Chewump, chewump, a rhythmic exhalation that marks the passage of time. These sounds are hypnotic. They are designed by evolution to be felt over long distances, and tonight they are traveling across millions of years to reach you. Close your mouth and try to hum a low note, feeling the vibration in your own lips and throat. That buzzing sensation is what the dinosaurs felt constantly, a self-soothing mechanism that kept them calm, and it can keep you calm too. There is something profoundly grounding about low-frequency sound. It mimics the environment of the womb, the muffled sounds of the outside world, the steady beat of a mother's heart. And the dinosaurs recreated this feeling for the entire planet. The forest is not silent, but it is not noisy. It is filled with this brown noise, a spectrum of sound that is darker and deeper than white noise, smoothing out the rough edges of your consciousness. Imagine a crocodile in the water, how it makes the water dance and bubble around its back just by humming a low note. Now imagine that on land, the air itself rippling with the power of these gentle giants. It creates a sense of heaviness in the air, a barometric pressure that signals to your brain that it is time to hunker down, time to find a soft spot and close your eyes. The absence of high-pitched screeches means your startle reflex can turn off. There are no sudden alarms here, only the long, rolling waves of sound that ebb and flow like the tide. You can visualize the sound waves moving through the forest like slow ripples in a pond, touching the leaves and making them tremble ever so slightly, touching your skin and making your heavy eyelids feel even heavier. This is a lullaby that has been sung for 150 million years, a song of survival and peace. The vocalizations are often quiet, intimate grunts and murmurs shared between animals standing close to each other, a private language of soft clicks and deep-chested groans that signify contentment. When a large dinosaur settles down to sleep, it might let out a long, vibrating sigh, a sound of total release, letting go of the weight of its massive body. And hearing that sigh allows you to release the weight of your own body, syncing your relaxation with theirs. The infrasound acts as a shield, creating a bubble of vibration around the herd, and you are inside that bubble, protected by the acoustic wall of their presence. It is a sound that resonates with the alpha waves of the brain, the waves associated with deep relaxation and the bridge to sleep, helping to guide your mind down from the beta waves of active thinking into the theta and delta waves of dreaming. You are drifting on a sea of sound, a dark, warm ocean of resonance that supports you completely. There is no need to strain your ears to hear it. You simply have to let your body feel it. Let the vibrations sink into your bones, anchoring you to the bed. It is the sound of the earth speaking, the sound of life in its most majestic form. The booming calls of the duck-billed dinosaurs, utilizing their hollow crests like trombones, echo softly in the distance, mournful and melodious, hauntingly beautiful notes that linger in the mist, reminding you that you are not alone.
That the world is full of life, even in the dark. These sounds are not chaotic, they are structured and rhythmic, following the tempo of the breath and the heart, a natural cadence that your body instinctively understands and wants to follow. As you listen, the modern world, with its sirens and notifications and high-pitched electronics, fades away completely, replaced by this organic, analog soundscape. It is deep, it is warm, it is slow. It feels like a heavy blanket being pulled up to your chin, a blanket woven from the deep notes of the past. The vibration is consistent, a steady hum that never wavers, providing a focal point for your meditation, a sound to return to whenever your mind wanders. You are safe in the presence of these giants, for their sounds are the sounds of peace, the sounds of animals at rest, communicating their comfort to one another. The deep purr of a dinosaur is the ultimate expression of safety, for a creature only makes such a sound when it is unafraid, and feeling their lack of fear helps you to let go of your own. Let the rumble move through you, starting at your feet and moving up to your head, relaxing every muscle it touches, turning your limbs to lead, turning your thoughts to smoke. The air is vibrating, the ground is vibrating, and you are vibrating in harmony with the ancient world. It is a lullaby of giants, sung by the throat of history, a song that has no words, only feeling.
It is the sound of heavy eyelids, the sound of slow breathing, the sound of the deep, velvety blackness of sleep. Let the low frequencies wash over you, cleansing you of stress, drowning out the noise of the present, leaving only the peaceful, vibrating silence of the Cretaceous night. You are heavy, you are warm, and you are listening to the heartbeat of the world. The sound is fading now, becoming a part of the background, a constant, comforting presence that will stay with you all night long, holding you in the deep, dark, restful place where the giants sleep. You drift deeper, carried by the rumble, down into the softest, quietest, most ancient sleep of all.
Leave the heavy footsteps of the giants behind you now, and let your mind wander away from the open plains, away from the herds, and into the deep and welcoming embrace of the forest itself, a place where the true stillness of the prehistoric world resides. You are entering the amber forests, a cathedral of nature, where the trees are not just plants, but ancient sentinels that have stood watch over the earth for millions of years. And as you step beneath the canopy, the light changes, shifting from the bright glare of the sun to a soft, diffused twilight that is gentle on your tired eyes. These are not the chaotic jungles of the movies, but majestic, open woodlands dominated by the ancestors of trees you might know and love today, the towering redwoods and the geometric araucarias, trees that bridge the gap between their time and ours, creating a sense of profound continuity that anchors you to the earth. Look up and see the pillars of the sky, the massive trunks of the conifers rising straight and true, stretching hundreds of feet into the air like columns in a grand temple. Their bark thick and fibrous, reddish-brown and deeply furrowed, warm to the touch from the accumulated heat of the day. If you were to wrap your arms around one of these trees, you would feel the solid, unshakable strength of a living thing that has survived storms and fires and the slow drift of continents. And that stability is transferred to you, making you feel rooted, making you feel secure. The air here is still, protected from the wind by the sheer density of the wood, and it smells incredibly fresh, a mixture of sharp pine needles, rich peat, and the sweet, intoxicating scent of resin, a fragrance that clears the airways and signals to the brain that this is a place of healing. As you walk deeper into this green sanctuary, you notice the ground is not bare, but covered in a lush, verdant carpet of ferns, whispering ferns that brush against your ankles with a soft, swishing sound. Swish, 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 a gentle friction that sounds like the earth saying, hush. These ferns are soft and feathery, uncurling their fronds in slow motion, covering every inch of the soil in a layer of velvet green that absorbs sound and softens the world. Sunlight filters through the high branches in distinct shafts, the phenomenon the Japanese call komorebi, where the light dances and flickers as the leaves move high above, creating a mosaic of gold and shadow on the forest floor. Dust motes float in these beams of light, suspended in the air, swirling slowly in the microcurrents, and watching them dance is a meditation in itself, a reminder that even the smallest particles are part of the grand design. But the true magic of this forest, the detail that will help you drift into the deepest sleep, is the sap. On the rough bark of the great trees, you see it, the lifeblood of the forest, thick, golden tears of resin slowly oozing from the wood. This is the substance that will one day become amber, but right now it is fresh and warm, glowing with an inner light as if it has captured the sun itself. Imagine watching a single drop of this golden sap. It moves so slowly that it seems motionless,
gravity pulling it down inch by inch over the course of hours, a testament to the slow patience of nature. It is warm, sticky, and smells like honey and cedar, and as it drips, it captures the essence of this moment.
Trapping a tiny pocket of air, a seed, or a small insect, preserving them forever in a golden tomb of peace. This process is a symbol of deep time, a concept that is incredibly comforting because it reminds us that the Earth has a long memory, that the trees we see today in our national parks are the direct descendants of these ancient giants, that there is an unbroken chain of life connecting you to this very moment in the Cretaceous. Knowing this makes your own life feel part of a larger, stable whole. It takes the pressure off the present moment because you realize you are just a small part of a vast, beautiful story that stretches back to the dawn of time. The redwoods you might see in California or the araucarias in the gardens of the South are the great-grandchildren of these trees, and they carry the same silence within them, the same genetic memory of the dinosaurs. As you visualize this, you feel a sense of permanence. The anxiety of the changing world fades away because the forest is constant. The forest is always there. The colors around you are soothing, deep russets, burnt oranges, and every shade of green imaginable, from the dark, almost black green of the pine needles to the bright electric green of the moss that clings to the roots. The roots themselves are massive, winding over the ground like sleeping snakes, anchoring the trees deep into the bedrock, holding the earth together, just as you are anchored in your bed, held safely by gravity. There is a hush here that is different from the silence of the plains. It is a reverent silence, the kind you find in an old library or an empty church, a silence that commands respect and invites introspection. The only sound is the occasional snap of a twig or the soft thud of a cone falling to the soft earth, a sound that marks the passage of time without disturbing the peace. You find a hollow at the base of a massive tree, a natural nook formed by the roots, filled with dry leaves and soft moss, and in your mind you curl up there, protected on all sides by living wood. The tree behind you feels warm and solid, a guardian that will not move, and you can feel its slow, rhythmic growth, the silent pumping of water from the roots to the needles, a circulation that mirrors your own blood flow. The canopy above acts as a roof, shielding you from the rain and the sun, creating a private room where you can let down your guard completely. You watch the amber sap glistening in the twilight, turning from gold to a deep, rich copper as the sun begins to set, the light fading slowly, gracefully, without resistance. This is a world without clocks. The only time is the time it takes for a fern to unfurl or a drop of sap to fall. And this freedom from time allows your mind to expand, to let go of the minutes and the hours and just float in the eternity of the moment. The air is filled with negative ions from the lush vegetation, particles that cleanse the mood and induce a state of calm euphoria. You are breathing in the breath of the trees, sharing an exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide that is the most fundamental connection in nature. The whispering ferns seem to be murmuring a lullaby, a soft, rustling language that speaks of sleep and rest. You can see the texture of the amber, the way it catches the last rays of the sun, holding the light inside it even as the forest darkens, a small beacon of warmth in the coming night. This golden light is the color of sleep, the color of heavy eyelids, warm and inviting. You feel the connection to the deep past, to the millions of years that have passed since this forest stood,
And you realize that if the Earth can survive for this long, if life can persist through the ages, then you too can get through whatever challenges you face. You too are resilient. You too are part of this enduring strength. The stability of the conifers, trees that do not change their leaves with the seasons, represents a steadfast peace, a promise that some things remain the same, that there is a solid foundation beneath your feet. As the shadows lengthen, the forest transforms into a place of silhouettes and shades of gray, the vertical lines of the trunks becoming bars of a crib, keeping you safe inside. The temperature drops slightly, bringing a crisp coolness that contrasts perfectly with the warmth of your bed, making you want to pull the covers up tighter, snuggling into the warmth. You are safe in the amber forest, preserved in the golden glow of the imagination, held in the suspension of deep time where nothing can hurt you, where the only thing that matters is the slow, sweet rhythm of the earth. The sap continues to drip, slowly, slowly, measuring out the seconds of your sleep, a natural hourglass that never runs out. You are one with the trees, standing tall in your dreams, rooted and calm, swaying gently in the wind of the subconscious. The scent of pine and resin lingers in your nose, a natural aromatherapy that soothes the nervous system. You are drifting deeper into the woods, further away from the edge of the forest, deeper into the heart of the green, where the silence is absolute, where the peace is unbroken. The ancient redwoods stand guard over your slumber, their branches spread wide to catch the stars, their roots holding you steady as the world turns. You are part of the continuity, part of the deep time, a traveler in the amber forests finding rest at the foot of the giants. The whispering ferns quiet down as the wind dies, leaving only the sound of your own breathing, slow and deep, matching the stillness of the ancient world. You are suspended in amber, warm and safe, drifting, drifting, drifting into the timeless golden sleep of the ages. Emerging now from the shelter of the amber forest, you step out into the vast and open plains where the golden light of the late afternoon sun bathes the landscape in a warm and honeyed glow, revealing one of the most magnificent sights of the prehistoric world, a sprawling sea of horns that stretches out before you like a living landscape of gray and brown. This is the home of the Triceratops, the three-horned face. But as you look upon this massive gathering, you do not see solitary monsters preparing for battle. Instead, you see a peaceful community, a bustling village of animals that are winding down their day in the safety of one another's company. There are hundreds of them here, grazing on the low-lying ferns and palms, their massive bodies casting long shadows across the grassless earth. And the sheer number of them creates an immediate sense of security, a feeling that here, in the middle of the herd, nothing can touch you, nothing can harm you. It is a powerful psychological comfort known as safety in numbers, and as you imagine yourself walking gently among them, you feel the protection of 1,000 shields, a fortress of living muscle and bone that stands between you and the rest of the world. The air is filled with the low, contented sounds of social bonding, not roars or growls, but the soft clicks of beaks snapping through vegetation and the deep, resonant grunts of parents communicating with their young, a soundscape that is surprisingly domestic and cozy. Science has revealed that these creatures were not the loners we once thought they were, but rather they lived in tight-knit family groups, bound together by complex social ties, and seeing them now through this lens of history changes everything, making them feel less like dragons and more like a herd of giant, gentle cattle settling in for the night. Focus your attention on a small family unit near the center of the herd, a mother, a father, and a small, clumsy calf that is barely up to your waist.
The baby Triceratops is tired after a long day of following the herd, its little legs heavy and slow, and it nudges against the mother's flank, letting out a high-pitched chirp that sounds almost like a bird. The mother lowers her massive head, her great frill tilting like a satellite dish, and she nudges the baby back, a gesture of infinite tenderness that transcends species and time. You watch as the family prepares for sleep, a ritual as old as life itself. The father, a giant with horns that look like polished ivory in the setting sun, positions himself to windward, his bulk acting as a windbreak to protect his family from the cooling breeze. You can see the texture of their skin, distinct and pebbled like a mosaic, tough and durable, yet warm to the touch, radiating the heat they absorbed during the day. The most relaxing sight, however, is the grooming. We often think of dinosaurs as scaly and cold, but here you see the softness of their interactions as the mother uses her beak to gently scratch the itch behind the father's frill, a spot he cannot reach himself. He leans into the touch, his eyes closing halfway in pure bliss, his heavy body sagging slightly as the tension leaves his muscles. It is a moment of intimacy that makes you smile, a moment that reminds you that love and care have existed on this planet for millions of years. The herd is beginning to arrange itself for the night, and this process is a masterpiece of instinctual organization.
The largest adults move to the outer edges of the circle, facing outward, their formidable horns creating a palisade, a fence of safety that encircles the vulnerable, while the mothers and the young move to the soft, warm center. You can imagine yourself making your way to that center, stepping over the safe, low ferns, guided by the instinct to find the safest place possible. The ground here is trampled flat and smooth, free of rocks and debris, a perfect earthen bed prepared by generations of footsteps. As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and indigo, the temperature begins to drop. But here in the middle of the herd, it remains warm, the collective body heat of tons of animals creating a microclimate of coziness. You watch the baby Triceratops finally collapse into the dust, its legs folding underneath it, letting out a long, happy sigh as its belly touches the ground. It doesn't sleep alone. It crawls into the space between its mother and father, a perfect triangular nook formed by their resting bodies. This is the ultimate image of security, the little one sandwiched between two mountains of safety, protected on all sides by the people who love it most. As you visualize this, let yourself feel that same sense of being tucked in. Imagine that your bed is that safe space, that your blankets are the warm flanks of the guardians, that the walls of your room are the outer ring of the herd keeping the night at bay. There is a profound heaviness to the Triceratops, a grounded quality that makes them feel like boulders or hills, and watching them settle down invites you to settle down too. Their breathing slows, becoming a collective rhythm that sounds like the ocean, a rising and falling tide of air that syncs with your own respiration. In and out, in and out. The sound is hypnotic, a white noise of breath and shifting weight. The frills, those magnificent bony shields, are not just for show. They are vascular, filled with blood vessels, and as the dinosaurs sleep, these frills act like thermal blankets, radiating warmth back towards their bodies. You can imagine curling up against the rough, warm skin of the mother, feeling the slow, powerful thud of her heart against your back, a beat that is slow and reassuring. The calmness of the herd is contagious. There is no anxiety here, no scanning the horizon for threats, because the perimeter is secure, the family is together, and the day is done. The feeling of belonging to a group, of being part of a community that looks out for one another,
satisfies a deep, primal need in the human brain, quieting the amygdala, the fear center, and allowing the relaxation response to take over. You are not alone in the dark. You are surrounded by a sea of horns, a legion of protectors. The sky above is growing dark, revealing the first few stars, piercing the twilight with their cold light. But down here on the ground, everything is warm and brown and earthy.
Occasionally, a dinosaur shifts its weight, the sound of heavy skin rubbing against heavy skin, a dry, rasping sound that is strangely comforting because it confirms their presence. The baby is fast asleep now, perhaps dreaming of sweet ferns and sunny days, its small chest rising and falling in perfect peace. The parents are dozing too, their eyes fully closed, their guard dropped because the herd is their guard. This is the sleep of the protected, a sleep that is deep and dreamless because it requires no vigilance. You can feel the weight of the day lifting off your shoulders, just as the Triceratops takes the weight off its legs. The heavy head of the father sinks lower until his chin rests on the ground, surrendering to gravity, and you can surrender too. Let your head sink into the pillow. Let your limbs go heavy and limp. The circle of safety is complete. The noises of the day have vanished, replaced by the silence of the plains, a silence that is vast and empty of worry. In the distance, the silhouette of the herd looks like a low mountain range against the fading light, a permanent feature of the landscape. You realize that for millions of years, this was the nightly ritual, families coming together, finding warmth, finding safety, and sleeping under the stars. It is a tradition of rest that you are continuing tonight. The bond between the parent and the child, the instinct to protect and to be protected, is the strongest force in nature, stronger than any predator, and it wraps around you now like a warm blanket. The smell of the herd is earthy and musky, a scent of dry grass and dust, a grounding smell that connects you to the soil. As the last light fades from the sky, the sea of horns becomes a sea of sleeping giants, a dormant power that is resting to face another day. But for now, there is only the night. There is only the warmth. There is only the rhythmic breathing of the family. You are safe in the center. You are held. You are protected. And as the darkness fully descends, you drift along with the little one, safe between the giants, into a sleep as deep and as heavy as the earth itself.
Now that you have felt the heavy, grounding comfort of the earth beneath the Triceratops herd, I want you to let your spirit become light, lighter than air, lighter than a feather, as we shift our gaze from the dusty plains up into the endless expanse of the Cretaceous sky. High above the slow-moving giants of the land, there exists another world entirely, a world of absolute silence and freedom, where the rulers are not the heavy-footed titans, but the masters of the wind, the Pterosaurs, and specifically the magnificent Quetzalcoatlus, a creature so grand and yet so graceful that it seems to defy gravity itself. Imagine yourself lifting off from the ground, leaving behind the weight of your body and the gravity of your worries, ascending slowly until you are floating in the cool, crisp air of the upper atmosphere. Here you meet the silent glider, a being the size of a giraffe when standing on the ground, but which transforms into a living airplane when it spreads its wings, wings that span nearly 40 feet from tip to tip, casting a long, sleek shadow that races across the clouds below. The most relaxing fact about these sky giants is that they do not struggle to fly. They do not frantically flap their wings in a desperate bid to stay aloft. Instead, they are the ultimate conservationists of energy, masters of the glide, who can stay airborne for hours or even days without a single beat of their wings.
They utilize the thermal currents, those invisible columns of warm air that rise from the sun-baked Earth, riding them like elevators up into the heavens. Imagine you are riding one of these thermals now, feeling the gentle, supportive push of the warm air beneath you, lifting you higher and higher with zero effort on your part. A sensation of pure buoyancy that makes you feel as if you are floating in water. You watch the Quetzalcoatlus lock its wings into position, a perfect aerodynamic shape, and simply hang there in the sky, suspended between the blue of the heavens and the green of the earth. This is the definition of weightlessness, a state where the burdens of the physical world no longer apply. And as you visualize this effortless soaring, your own body on the bed begins to mimic that sensation, your limbs feeling light and airy, as if the mattress is a cloud holding you up. The silence up here is profound. Far above the rustling of the forests and the calls of the dinosaurs, there is only the sound of the wind rushing smoothly over the leathery surface of the wings, a constant, soothing shh sound that wipes the slate of your mind clean. The wings of the pterosaur are not covered in feathers like a bird, but are made of a complex, living membrane of skin and muscle, reinforced by fibers that make them incredibly strong yet flexible. And this membrane is sensitive, able to feel every subtle shift in the wind, adjusting instantly and instinctively so the animal remains perfectly stable. You can imagine the sun warming this dark wing surface, a gentle, radiant heat that spreads through the blood vessels of the wings and warms the entire body, just as your blankets are warming you now. It is a dry, comfortable warmth, the heat of the sun in a clear blue sky. Science tells us that these creatures were not cold and scaly reptiles, but were actually covered in a soft, fur-like down called pycnofibers,
a cozy layer of insulation that kept them warm in the chill of the high altitude. Picture this soft, fuzzy coat, turning the terrifying monster of the movies into a soft, warm creature that you could imagine resting your head against, a gentle giant of the air. The bones of the Quetzalcoatlus are a marvel of nature. They are hollow and filled with air sacs, making them incredibly light, almost as if the animal is made of air itself. Think of your own bones becoming hollow and light, releasing the tension and the density of the day, feeling the heavy pull of gravity fading away until you are just a consciousness floating in the sky. Looking down from this vantage point, the world below looks like a miniature toy set. The massive trees are just broccoli florets, the rivers are silver ribbons, and the great herds of dinosaurs are just specks of dust. From this height, the problems of the world look small too, insignificant and distant, unable to reach you in your high sanctuary. You are detached, observing the world from a place of peace and perspective. The glider banks slowly to the left, a movement so smooth it is imperceptible, tilting the horizon gently, and you turn with it, feeling the delightful sensation of a slow, controlled spin. There is no destination here, no arrival time, no flight plan. The only goal is to be in the air, to exist in the flow of the wind. The pterosaur navigates the sky with the wisdom of millions of years of evolution, knowing exactly where the air is rising and where it is falling, trusting the atmosphere to support it. You too can trust the support around you, trusting your bed, trusting your home, trusting that you can let go and you will not fall. Occasionally, the glider passes through a cloud, a cool, damp mist that refreshes the senses, dampening the sound even further, wrapping you in a white fog of isolation where the rest of the world disappears completely. Inside the cloud, the light is diffused and soft, a pearlescent white that is easy on the eyes, calming the optic nerve.
As you emerge from the other side of the cloud, the sun breaks through again, glorious and bright, illuminating the vastness of the western interior seaway in the distance, a sparkling expanse of blue water that stretches to the horizon. The flight is so smooth that if you closed your eyes up there, you wouldn't even know you were moving. You would just feel the suspension, the hovering. This is the sleep of the sky, a sleep that is light and airy, free from the heaviness of the body. You watch the Quetzalcoatlus adjust its long, stiff neck, peering down with keen eyes, not to hunt, but simply to watch, a silent observer of the history passing below. It is a solitary creature in the air, comfortable in its own company, enjoying the solitude of the stratosphere. This solitude is not lonely, it is peaceful, a break from the social demands of the herd, a time to just be with oneself in the quiet. The rhythmic movement of the chest as the pterosaur breathes is slow and deep, adapting to the thinner air, extracting every molecule of oxygen with efficiency, and your breathing mirrors this high-altitude rhythm, becoming shallow and efficient, requiring less and less effort. You are gliding towards the sunset now, flying west towards the dying light, chasing the sun as it dips below the curvature of the earth. You watch the pterosaur adjust its long, stiff neck, peering down with keen eyes, not to hunt, but simply to watch, a silent observer of the history passing below. It is a solitary creature in the air, comfortable in its own company, enjoying the solitude of the stratosphere. This solitude is not lonely, it is peaceful, a break from the social demands of the herd, a time to just be with oneself in the quiet. The rhythmic movement of the chest as the pterosaur breathes is slow and deep, adapting to the thinner air, extracting every molecule of oxygen with efficiency, and your breathing mirrors this high-altitude rhythm, becoming shallow and efficient, requiring less and less effort. You are gliding towards the sunset now, flying west towards the dying light, chasing the sun as it dips below the curvature of the earth.
The sky turns into a canvas of impossible colors, deep purples, fiery reds, and soft pinks, and the wings of the glider reflect these colors, turning the animal into a flying jewel. The wind begins to die down as evening approaches, the thermals cooling and fading, signaling that it is time to descend, time to return to the roost. The descent is just as gentle as the flight, a slow, spiraling path down towards the safety of the cliffs. You feel the air pressure changing slightly, a comforting hug that welcomes you back to the earth. But you carry the feeling of flight with you, that sensation of being unburdened, of being lifted. Even as the Quetzalcoatlus lands, folding its massive wings intricately against its body, walking on all fours like a strange, stilt-walking giraffe, it retains the dignity of the sky. It finds a ledge high up on a canyon wall, safe from predators, a high fortress where it can rest. It tucks its long beak into its furry chest, closes its eyes, and becomes a statue of stillness. You are resting on that ledge with it, high above the world, protected by height and silence. The memory of the flight lingers in your muscles, a phantom sensation of floating that makes the bed feel like it is levitating. You are a glider in your dreams, capable of soaring over any obstacle, capable of rising above any noise. The air around you is still now. The wind has stopped, but the freedom remains. You have the hollow bones of a bird, the warm coat of the picmer fibers, and the wings of a giant. You are drifting on the edge of sleep, poised to take off into the dream world, where gravity does not exist. The shadows beneath the sun have lengthened and merged into the uniform darkness of night, hiding the ground, hiding the sky, leaving only the sensation of floating in the void.
It is a comfortable void, a space of infinite potential and infinite rest. You are weightless. You are free. You are the silent glider of the sky, drifting on the winds of sleep, higher and higher, further and further away, until there is nothing left but the soft, velvety darkness and the feeling of perfect, weightless peace. From the high and windy cliffs where the pterosaurs slumber, we now descend slowly, drifting down like a falling leaf, leaving the open air behind to approach the edge of a vast and sparkling inland sea that once divided the continent of North America in two, a body of water known as the Western Interior Seaway, which covered the lands we now know as Kansas and Nebraska in a blanket of tropical blue. As you reach the shoreline, the sand is white and warm under your feet, but we are not stopping here. We are moving forward, wading gently into the surf, feeling the warm and welcoming embrace of the ancient ocean as it rises to meet your ankles, then your knees, then your waist, until you surrender completely to the water, pushing off from the sandy bottom to float weightlessly in the sapphire depths. The water here is clearer than any water you have ever seen in your life, for this is a world before pollution, before industry, before the silt of agriculture. It is a world of absolute liquid purity, where the visibility stretches for hundreds of feet, a crystalline medium that holds you and supports you. As you slip beneath the surface, the sounds of the world above are instantly cut off, replaced by the muffled, womb-like silence of the deep, a quiet so profound that it instantly slows your pulse. You are not alone in this sapphire cathedral, for gliding towards you out of the deep blue haze comes one of the most graceful creatures to ever exist, the plesiosaur, a marine reptile that looks like a mythical sea dragon, with a body smooth and streamlined and a neck that stretches out endlessly like a serpent. But there is no fear here, only awe, for these Leviathans are peaceful giants, moving through the water with a slow and rhythmic elegance that is hypnotic to watch. The most relaxing fact about water is that it negates gravity, and watching these multi-ton animals floating effortlessly reminds your brain that you too can float, you too can be supported without effort. The plesiosaur moves not by swimming in the way fish do, but by flying underwater, using 4 massive, paddle-like flippers that move in a figure-8 motion, the same motion used by sea turtles today, creating a gentle propulsion that pushes them forward with a silent grace. Watch as the front flippers sweep down and the back flippers sweep up, a synchronized ballet of biology that propels the giant through the water in slow motion. Swish and glide, swish and glide. The rhythm is leisurely and deliberate, for they are the masters of this element, and they have no need to rush. As you imagine swimming alongside them, you feel the water taking the weight of your body completely, lifting the pressure off your joints, untying the knots in your muscles, allowing your spine to elongate and relax in the suspension of the sea. The water is the color of a precious gemstone, a deep, radiating blue that filters the sunlight from above, creating dancing patterns of light known as caustics that ripple across the sandy seabed far below and play across the smooth skin of the plesiosaurs. This play of light is mesmerizing, a constant, shifting mosaic of gold and turquoise that tires the eyes in the most pleasant way possible, inviting you to close them and just feel the motion. You are drifting in a world of slow currents, carried along by the warm stream of the seaway, feeling the water glide against your skin like silk.
The sensation of being submerged is primal and deeply comforting, recalling the earliest biological memories of safety and containment. And as you float there, suspended in the liquid history of the Earth, you feel a sense of total isolation from the chaotic world above. The plesiosaur turns its head slowly, its long neck bending in a graceful arc, its large, dark eyes inspecting the coral reef below with a serene curiosity. These animals are air breathers, so occasionally you watch as one begins a slow ascent to the surface, rising like a bubble, breaking the surface tension to take a single deep breath of the prehistoric air before slipping silently back down into the blue, a cycle of breath that is slow and rhythmic. Rise, inhale, sink, exhale. You can match your breathing to this cycle, imagining your chest filling with the fresh, clean air and then slowly emptying as you sink deeper into relaxation, deeper into the mattress. The water pressure acts like a weighted blanket, providing a gentle, uniform squeeze around your entire body that signals safety to your nervous system, a phenomenon known as deep pressure stimulation that naturally reduces anxiety. The silence is broken only by the soft whoosh of water moving over the creature's flippers and the distant clicking sounds of ammonites and crustaceans, a delicate underwater soundscape that is like a lullaby. You see a school of ancient fish shimmering like silver coins in the distance, moving in unison, turning and flashing in the light. But the plesiosaur pays them no mind, drifting past them like a cloud. The sense of scale here is comforting. The ocean is vast, and you are small, a tiny speck held in the great blue hand of nature. And this vastness allows your problems to dissolve, diluted into nothingness by the millions of gallons of water. You are weightless, you are buoyant, you are free. The temperature of the water is perfect, matching your body temperature so that the boundary between your skin and the water seems to disappear, making you feel as if you are expanding, becoming one with the ocean. The Leviathans are gathering now, a pod of them hovering in the mid-water, their long necks swaying gently with the current like tall seagrass, resting together in the deep. They do not need to anchor themselves, they simply achieve neutral buoyancy, neither sinking nor rising, just existing in perfect balance. And you can find that balance point too, that sweet spot between waking and sleeping, where you are just floating. The light from the surface is fading now as the sun begins to set above the waves, and the sapphire blue deepens into a rich indigo, a twilight color that signals the end of the activity. The underwater world becomes a place of shadows and silhouettes, peaceful and still. You watch as the plesiosaurs slow their movements even further, their flippers making only the tiniest adjustments to stay in place, their heart rates dropping as they enter a state of rest. You are floating with them, a member of the pod, suspended in the healing salt water of the past. The feeling of the water supporting your neck, your back, your legs is absolute. You do not have to hold a single muscle tight. You can let it all go, let it all turn to liquid. The seabed below is soft white sand, rippled by the currents, looking like a soft bed waiting to receive you. But you are content to hang in the blue, weightless and unburdened. The ancient ocean is a place of slow time, where the ticking of the clock does not exist, only the ebb and flow of the tides, the rising and falling of the sun, and the slow beat of the Leviathan's heart. You feel a profound sense of cleanliness, as if the pure water has washed away not just the dust of the day, but the stress of the mind, leaving you scrubbed clean and tranquil. The water is a barrier, a shield that keeps the noise out, keeps the light out, keeps the demands of life out, leaving you in a bubble of blue peace. You visualize the gentle undulation of the water, a rocking motion that cradles you back and forth, like a boat on a calm sea. It is the ultimate sleep aid, the return to the source of life, the return to the water. The massive shape of the nearest plesiosaur
is now just a dark, comforting shadow, a presence that assures you that you are safe in the depths. You are breathing slowly, floating deeply, sinking into the sapphire dream. The currents are slowing down, the ocean is quieting, and the Leviathans are sleeping, suspended in the eternal blue. You are drifting with them, lighter than air, deeper than the sea, totally relaxed, totally at peace. The water holds you, the silence holds you, and the history holds you. You are floating, floating, floating into the deep, dark, restful waters of sleep.
Leaving the cool and weightless suspension of the sapphire ocean, we drift slowly back toward the land, moving inland, away from the coast, to a place where the earth is dry and warm, and the air is filled with a different kind of peace, a domestic peace that speaks to the very core of our biological need for safety and connection. We are entering the nesting grounds of the Maiasaura, a name that literally translates to the good mother lizard. And as you step into this vast, open nursery under the soft, prehistoric sun, you realize that the popular image of dinosaurs as cold and unfeeling monsters is entirely wrong. For here you witness a scene of profound tenderness and care that has existed for millions of years. The landscape before you is dotted with hundreds of raised earthen mounds, carefully constructed nests built from soil and stones and lined with soft vegetation, arranged in an orderly fashion like a suburban neighborhood where every family has their own safe space. You approach one of these nests gently, moving invisibly and silently so as not to disturb the peace, and you feel a wave of physical warmth radiating from the ground, a heat that is not just from the sun, but from the nest itself. The clever mothers have piled layers of ferns and damp leaves over their eggs, and as this vegetation slowly decays, it releases a steady, gentle heat through the process of fermentation, acting as a natural incubator, a prehistoric electric blanket that keeps the unborn babies at the perfect, cozy temperature, day and night. Imagine that warmth now, a humid, earthy heat that smells of sweet compost and dried grass, a scent that is primitive and grounding, smelling like a garden after a summer rain. You can visualize yourself curling up next to one of these mounds, leaning your back against the soft earth, feeling that organic warmth seeping into your muscles, relaxing the tension in your lower back, warming you from the outside in. Standing over the nest is the mother Maiasaura, a large duck-billed dinosaur with soft brown skin and gentle, intelligent eyes that scan the horizon not with aggression, but with a protective vigilance. She is not a hunter, she is a nurturer, and watching her creates a feeling of being watched over, a feeling that you can let your guard down because someone else is on duty, someone else is taking care of the safety of the world, so you don't have to. She lowers her massive head to check on the nest, her beak making a soft, inquiring sound, a low coo-coo that vibrates in her throat, a sound of pure affection that is meant to soothe the life growing inside the shells. The eggs are cracking now, not with violence, but with the slow, deliberate effort of new life, and you see a tiny hatchling emerge, blinking its dark eyes against the light, its body covered in a soft, downy fuzz that looks like the feathers of a baby chick. The mother does not abandon it. She leans down and nudges it gently with her snout, a touch as light as a feather, welcoming it to the world. This is the relaxing truth of the dinosaur age, that love and parenting are not new inventions, they are ancient instincts. And seeing this giant creature caring for something so small and fragile makes you feel cherished and protected.
The hatchlings stay in the nest for weeks, fed berries and plants brought by the parents, and you can imagine being one of those little ones,
safe inside the high walls of the earthen mound, buried in the soft, warm bedding of leaves, with nothing to do but eat and sleep and grow. The sound of the colony is a collective lullaby, a chorus of soft peeps from the babies and the answering rumbles from the mothers, a conversation of comfort that fills the air. Peep, rumble, peep, rumble. It is a call and response of safety, confirming over and over again that everything is all right. The ground beneath you is solid and dry, baked by the sun, but softened by the nesting materials, creating a bed that is firm yet yielding, supporting your body completely. The air is still here, protected by the surrounding hills, and the sun feels like a warm hand resting on your skin, heavy and relaxing. You watch as the mother Maiasaura settles down for a moment of rest herself, folding her legs beneath her massive body, lowering herself carefully so as not to disturb the nest, and her breathing becomes slow and rhythmic, a deep, heaving sigh that signals to the whole family that it is time to rest. Seeing a multi-ton animal relaxing, seeing her eyelids drooping, seeing the tension leave her body, gives you permission to do the same, to mimic her relaxation, to let your own eyelids droop and your own body settle. There is a sense of community here, just like with the Triceratops, but this is more intimate. This is the sanctity of the home, the quiet bubble of the immediate family. The warmth of the rotting vegetation is constant. It does not fluctuate with the wind or the clouds. It is a steady, reliable source of heat that wraps around you like a cocoon. You can imagine digging your hands into the nesting material, feeling the damp, warm leaves, the crumbling soil, the textures of nature that are so much more soothing than the artificial surfaces of the modern world. The baby dinosaurs huddled together for warmth, a pile of soft, breathing bodies, and you can imagine joining that pile, feeling the comfort of physical contact, the shared heat of sleep. There is no loneliness in the nest, only connection. The good mother brings a mouthful of ferns, the smell of crushed green leaves filling the air, a fresh and clean scent that mixes with the earthy aroma of the nest. She is patient, she is kind, she is present. In a world that is often fast-paced and demanding, the image of the Maiasaura reminds us of the power of slowing down, of nurturing, of simply being there. The sun is beginning to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the nesting grounds, turning the mounds into golden hills, and the activity of the colony begins to wind down. The peeping of the babies becomes softer, less frequent, as they tire themselves out and succumb to sleep. The mothers become still statues of peace, their silhouettes standing guard against the twilight. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for this scene, for the knowledge that the earth has always been a place where mothers care for their young, where safety can be found in a warm nest. The atmosphere is thick with dopamine and oxytocin, the hormones of love and bonding, and just visualizing this scene releases those same chemicals in your brain, calming your anxiety and preparing you for sleep. You are safe in the warmth of the nest, tucked in by the good mother, protected by the circle of the colony. The heat of the vegetation is penetrating deep into your bones, soothing any aches, melting away any stiffness. It is a humid, tropical warmth that loosens the chest and makes breathing easy. You are a child of the earth tonight, returning to the cradle of history, returning to the simple, undeniable comfort of being held. The sky turns a soft lavender, the stars beginning to blink into existence one by one, watching over the sleeping families. The mother dinosaur closes her eyes fully now, her breathing slowing to a crawl.
and the silence of the evening settles over the land like a soft blanket. You are drifting, warm and secure, held in the gentle embrace of the past. The nest is cozy, the ground is soft, the air is sweet. You are the baby in the nest, you are the mother watching over, you are the peace of the moment. There is nothing to worry about. The walls of the nest are high, the heat is constant, and the love is real. Sleep comes easily here, natural and deep, born of warmth and safety. You drift further down, feeling the heavy, comforting weight of the good mother's presence, feeling the warmth of the earth, feeling the absolute stillness of the prehistoric night. You are safe, you are warm, you are loved, and you sleep.
As you leave the warm embrace of the nesting grounds, the air begins to grow heavy and still, a profound silence falling over the prehistoric world as the atmospheric pressure drops, signaling a shift in the weather, a change from the golden warmth of the afternoon to the refreshing coolness of the coming evening. You can smell it before you see it, the scent of ozone and petrichor, that distinct and electric aroma of dry earth waiting to be kissed by water. A smell that instinctively tells your brain to seek shelter, to find a cozy corner, and to settle down for the night. The sky above, once a piercing blue, is now being blanketed by thick, towering clouds that roll in from the ocean, dark and heavy with moisture, turning the daylight into a soft, gray twilight that is easy on the eyes and calming to the spirit. This is not a frightening storm. This is the monsoon of the Mesozoic, a life-giving event that brings water to the giants. And as the first drop falls, it hits a massive, broad leaf of a tropical plant right next to you with a loud, distinct plap, a sound that rings out in the quiet forest like a bell. Then comes another drop, plap, and another, plap, and suddenly the sky opens up and the rain begins to fall in earnest, a warm tropical deluge that washes over the ancient landscape. Close your eyes and listen to the sound. It is the most hypnotic sound in nature, a chaotic yet perfect rhythm of millions of water droplets hitting millions of leaves. Because the plants of this era are so large, with fronds spanning feet across and leaves as big as umbrellas, the sound of the rain is deeper and richer than the rain you know today. It is a heavy drumming sound, a percussion of water against vegetation that creates a wall of white noise, blocking out every other distraction in the world. Imagine yourself safely tucked away under the shelter of a massive fallen log or inside the entrance of a shallow, dry cave, looking out at the world as it gets a bath. You are perfectly dry, perfectly warm, wrapped in your blankets, but just inches away, the world is being drenched. The sound is all-encompassing, a steady, rushing roar that drowns out the chatter of your own mind, washing away the stress, washing away the worries, leaving only the sound of the water. You watch as the rain transforms the forest, turning the dull browns of the tree trunks into rich, dark chocolates, making the green leaves shine with a glossy, wet luster. The steam begins to rise from the warm ground, creating a mist that dances around the feet of the trees, softening the edges of reality, making the world look like a watercolor painting. And there, emerging from the mist, you see the most powerful creature of them all, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. But he is not hunting, he is not roaring, he is simply standing there in the rain, a massive dark silhouette against the gray sky. This is a side of the predator you rarely think of, the peaceful giant enjoying the cool water running over his skin. Watch as the rain runs down his thick, pebbled scales, darkening his skin to a deep slate gray, water dripping from the end of his snout, water pooling in the hollows of his massive footprint. He blinks his small amber eyes slowly, unbothered by the storm,
perhaps even enjoying the relief from the heat of the day.
Standing as still as a statue, accepting the weather with a stoic grace. Seeing the king of the dinosaurs in this vulnerable, quiet moment reminds you that he is just an animal, a part of nature, and his calmness in the middle of the storm helps you to feel calm in the middle of yours. The rain acts as a curtain, separating you from the rest of the world, creating a private space where only you exist. The sound of the rain hitting the T-Rex's back is a heavy thrum, 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 mixing with the hiss of the rain hitting the ground and the tap, tap, tap of the rain on the leaves, creating a symphony of wet sounds that is incredibly soothing to the nervous system. Water has a memory, and the sound of rain triggers a deep ancestral memory of safety, of being in the cave while the elements rage outside. And that feeling of cave safety is exactly what your bed provides for you right now. You are sheltered, you are dry, you are safe. The monsoon is heavy, but it is constant. There are no sudden cracks of thunder to startle you, just the relentless pouring rain, a deluge that feels like it could last forever. The air grows cooler, sweeping away the humidity, bringing a fresh, clean breeze that smells of wet pine and washed stone, a scent that clears your lungs and makes your breathing deeper and slower. You watch the water gathering in small puddles on the ground, growing into tiny streams that weave around the roots of the trees, reflecting the gray sky above. The leaves of the ferns bow down under the weight of the water, then bounce back up when the water slides off, a gentle, rhythmic movement that is mesmerizing to watch. Bow and release, bow and release. Nature is dancing to the music of the rain. The T-Rex lowers his head to drink from a fresh pool of water, his movements slow and deliberate, the ripples spreading out from his snout, disturbing the reflection of the clouds. It is a moment of pure peace, the apex predator drinking from the earth, united with the land by the water. You feel a heaviness in your limbs, a desire to just lie still and listen, to let the sound of the rain massage your brain. The white noise of the storm smooths out your thoughts, filling the silence so you don't have to, allowing your mind to switch off. It is a blanket of sound, heavy and thick, wrapping you up tight. You imagine the rain falling on the roof of your house, connecting the ancient rain to the modern rain, realizing that water is the same, that the rain falling tonight is the same water that fell on the dinosaurs, recycled through time, carrying the same peace, the same ability to lull living things to sleep. The tropical storm is warm, but the coolness it brings is refreshing, a perfect balance that makes you want to snuggle deeper into your covers. The world outside is gray and wet, but your world inside is warm and dry, and that contrast is the essence of comfort. The rain continues to pour, a steady, unwavering force, washing the dust off the leaves, washing the heat out of the air, washing the tension out of your body. You are observing the storm from the safest place in the world, a spectator to the power of nature. The T-Rex shakes his head, sending a spray of water flying into the air, a playful gesture that makes him seem even more real, even more alive. He turns slowly and walks back into the deeper forest, disappearing into the wall of rain, leaving you alone with the sound. The drumming on the leaves does not stop. It is a constant companion, a rhythm that matches the beating of your heart. You feel the vibration of the rain in the air, a low-frequency hum that resonates in your chest. The moss on the ground soaks up the water like a sponge, becoming bright emerald green, soft and inviting. You can imagine lying on that soft, mossy bed, protected by a giant fern leaf,
listening to the rain fall just inches above your face. The intimacy of the rain is what makes it so relaxing. It feels like the world has shrunk down to just you and the sound. The heavy drops are like little fingers tapping on your shoulders, massaging away the stress. The monsoon implies a season, a time of renewal, and sleep is your time of renewal, your nightly monsoon that washes away the fatigue of the day. Let the rain fall. Let it pour. Let it drown out the noise of the traffic and the noise of the internet. There is only the forest. There is only the rain. There is only the feeling of being safe and warm while the water falls. The sound is fading slightly now as the storm settles into a steady, all-night rhythm, a soft, continuous hiss that is the perfect background for deep sleep. The world is wet and clean. The air is fresh. The dinosaurs are sleeping in the shelter of the trees, and you are sleeping in the shelter of your room. The rain is a lullaby sung by the sky to the earth, a song that says, "Rest now, grow now, sleep now." You are drifting on the sound of the water, floating on the stream of the storm, carried away to a place of dreams. The rain falls on the mountains, on the plains, on the sea, and on you. It is a universal connection, a liquid thread that binds you to the history of the planet. And as the rain continues to fall, drop by drop, you feel yourself letting go, drop by drop, slipping further and further into the darkness, guided by the hypnotic, rhythmic, eternal sound of the prehistoric rain.
The rain has faded now into a soft and rhythmic dripping from the leaves, a gentle percussion that marks the transition from the active day to the profound stillness of the night. And as the clouds part to reveal the faint glimmer of the first stars, we find ourselves standing at the edge of a large, secluded clearing where the wet grass smells sweet and the air is thick with peace. Here, in the center of this natural amphitheater, lies the source of all legends, the most famous creature to ever walk the earth, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. But tonight, you are not seeing the terrifying predator of the movies. You are seeing the animal, the biological being, the king at rest. The first thing you notice is the sheer scale of him, a massive hail of muscle and bone that has surrendered completely to the pull of gravity, his 40-foot length curled up tight in a posture that is surprisingly familiar, reminding you of a sleeping bird or a giant dog. He has chosen a spot of soft sand that retains the warmth of the day, and he has dug out a shallow depression to cradle his immense bulk, creating a bed that fits him perfectly. It is a rare and special privilege to see the apex predator in this state of vulnerability, completely unthreatened, completely at ease. And seeing him this way breaks the stigma of the monster, revealing the gentle giant underneath. He is full from a meal, his belly rounded and warm, and his body is heavy with the pleasant lethargy of digestion, a feeling of food coma that we all know and love. That heavy, warm sensation that pulls the eyelids down and makes the limbs feel like lead. The king is safe. He has no natural enemies, no one dares to disturb him, and because of this, he sleeps with a depth and a confidence that is absolute. This is the sleep of the king, a sleep that requires no vigilance, no one eye open, just total and complete abandonment to the darkness. As you move closer in your imagination, you can feel the heat radiating from his body. He is a massive biological furnace, warm and alive, and standing near him feels like standing next to a large, comforting radiator on a cold night. You can see the texture of his skin in the moonlight, a landscape of rough, pebbled scales that are dark and earthy, scarred by time and survival, but softened now by the relaxation of his muscles. He has tucked his massive head under his tiny arm, burying his snout against the warmth of his own chest, a gesture that is incredibly tender and bird-like, protecting his sensitive nose and keeping him warm. This posture turns the fearsome silhouette into a rounded, compact shape that looks peaceful and dormant. Listen closely and you will hear the sound of his breathing. It is not a roar, but a deep, resonant wheeze, a slow intake of air that expands his massive ribs, and then a long, shuddering exhalation that shakes the leaves on the ground nearby. Whoosh. It is the sound of a steam engine cooling down, a sound of power at rest. Watching the rise and fall of that giant flank is hypnotic. Up and down, a visual metronome that helps you to slow your own breathing. If the most powerful being on the continent can let his guard down, if the king of the Cretaceous can close his eyes and drift away, then surely you can too.
You have permission to rest. You have permission to stop fighting the battles of the day. You have permission to be vulnerable. There is a profound sense of safety in his presence, for you know that while he sleeps, the forest is quiet, the hierarchy is settled, and there is nothing to fear. The tension that holds his body upright during the day has melted away. His massive legs, usually so tense and ready to run, are now splayed out loosely, the heavy muscles slack and soft. His tail, that great counterweight, is wrapped gently around his body, acting as a barrier, a wall of flesh and bone that says, "Do not disturb." You can imagine leaning against his back, feeling the slow, rhythmic thud of his giant heart, a beat that is slow and powerful. Thump, thump, silence. Thump, thump, silence. A rhythm that has been beating for millions of years. This connection to the apex predator gives you a feeling of vicarious strength. You are protected by his power. You are sheltered by his reputation. The moonlight catches the moisture on his skin, making him glisten like a dark jewel in the night, a silent mountain of peace. The air around him is calm, disturbed only by his breath, and the smell is musky and organic, the smell of a clean animal, the smell of the wild. You realize that sleep is the great equalizer, that every creature, no matter how big or how small, no matter how fierce or how timid, must eventually close its eyes and trust in the safety of the night. The T-Rex needs this rest to repair his muscles, to clear his mind, to prepare for tomorrow, just as you do. There is no shame in being tired. There is only the natural law of recovery. You watch a small insect land on his snout, and he does not move. He does not flinch. He is too deep in the dream world to notice. This depth of sleep is what you are aiming for, a sleep so deep that the small annoyances of the world simply cease to exist. You are learning from the king, learning how to shut down the systems, how to turn off the radar. The forest around him seems to hold its breath in respect. The crickets are chirping softly, a gentle lullaby for the giant. You feel a wave of heaviness washing over you, a sympathetic response to his slumber. Your own limbs feel heavy, sinking into the mattress just as his body sinks into the sand. Your eyelids feel thick and weighted. The image of the curled-up T-Rex is a mandala of rest, a circle of safety. He looks almost like a hatchling again, innocent and soft, stripped of his aggression by the power of sleep. It is a reminder that at our core, we all just want to be warm. We all just want to be safe. We all just want to rest.
The night is cool, but the heat from the giant keeps the cold at bay. You are in the presence of greatness, but it is a quiet greatness, a silent majesty. The worries of your life feel very small compared to this creature, insignificant in the face of deep time and deep sleep. You can let them go. You can leave them at the feet of the king, and he will guard them while you sleep. The wind rustles the trees gently, a whispering sound that mixes with his breathing. You are drifting, floating in the space between the waking world and the dreaming world, guided by the rhythm of the giant. The T-Rex shifts slightly, letting out a soft grunt, a sound of comfort as he settles deeper into his bed, finding that perfect spot. You shift too, finding your perfect spot, adjusting your pillow, pulling the blanket up to your chin. You are the king of your own bed, the ruler of your own sleep, and you are claiming your right to rest. The darkness is not empty, it is filled with the comforting presence of life. The stars above are the same stars that watch over him, connecting you across the ages. The timeline dissolves, and it is just you and the sleeping giant, resting together in the quiet of the earth. The power of the T-Rex is now a battery for your sleep, charging you with a deep, earthy energy that is grounding and stabilizing. You feel solid, you feel heavy, you feel real. The anxiety of the modern world cannot reach you here in the shadow of the Cretaceous. The only thing that matters is the slow intake of air, the slow release, the pause in between. You are syncing with the prehistoric rhythm, a rhythm that is slower than the ticking of a clock, slower than the frantic pace of humanity. It is the rhythm of rocks and trees and giant hearts. The king is asleep. The world is safe. You can let go. You can drift. You can dream. The darkness wraps around you like a velvet cloak, warm and soft. The image of the sleeping T-Rex fades slowly into a dark, comfortable shape, a shadow that watches over you. You are sinking deeper, deeper, deeper into the quiet slumber of the ages, joining the king in the land of dreams, where everyone is safe and everyone is peaceful.
The breathing of the sleeping king has steadied into a deep and rhythmic hum that fades into the background as you turn your attention away from the earth and lift your gaze upwards, up past the canopy of the ancient trees, up past the silhouettes of the mountains, and into the endless and overwhelming beauty of the prehistoric night sky. The sun has vanished completely now, taking the colors of the day with it, and in its place a velvet curtain has been drawn across the world, a darkness so pure and so complete that it is unlike anything you have ever experienced in the modern era. There are no city lights here, no street lamps, no headlights, no glow from distant towns to stain the horizon with orange. There is only the absolute and pristine blackness of space, a canvas of deep ebony that stretches from one end of the universe to the other. And because the darkness is so perfect, the light is spectacular, revealing a sky that is crowded, absolutely packed with millions upon millions of stars, shining with a brilliance that we can only dream of today. This is the sky of the Mesozoic, a sky where the Milky Way does not look like a faint smudge, but like a roaring river of diamond dust, a bright and solid band of light that arches across the heavens like a bridge of milk and pearls, casting a soft and ghostly shadow on the ground below. As you look up at this magnificent display, you realize the most relaxing fact of all, the most profound connection that links you to this story, which is that the stars you are seeing in your mind's eye right now are the very same stars that are shining outside your window tonight. The constellations may have shifted slightly over the eons, drifting like slow ships on a dark ocean, but the light is the same, the energy is the same, and the feeling of awe is exactly the same. The dinosaurs slept under this same blanket of stars. They navigated by this same map of lights, and realizing this creates a bridge across the 66 million years, a bridge made of starlight that connects your soul to theirs. You are looking at the same stage, just from a different moment in time. The air has cooled down significantly now that the sun is gone, the tropical heat of the day dissipating into the upper atmosphere, leaving behind a crisp and refreshing coolness that touches your face like a clean cloth, a temperature that is perfect for sleeping. It is the kind of cool air that makes you want to burrow deeper into your blankets, finding the warmth within, and as you imagine this prehistoric chill, you feel the cozy comfort of your own bed even more intensely. The atmosphere is still and stable,
The stars do not twinkle as much as they do now because the air is cleaner and thicker. They burn with a steady, unblinking light, like beacons of eternity watching over the sleeping world. You can trace the path of the Milky Way, seeing the dark rifts of dust clouds that block the light, creating mysterious shapes against the glow. The great rift that looks like a dark river flowing through the light. Down on the forest floor, the mirror image of the sky begins to appear as the bioluminescent beetles wake up, tiny living stars that flicker in the undergrowth. These are the ancestors of fireflies, glowing with soft greens and yellows.
Pulsing slowly in the darkness. Blink, 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 a gentle rhythm that mimics the slow heartbeat of the night. The forest is now filled with these floating lights, drifting between the trunks of the redwoods, dancing over the sleeping ferns, creating a fairyland of soft illumination that is magical and soothing. It is as if the stars have fallen from the sky to visit the earth, blurring the line between the heavens and the ground. You watch one of these glowing beetles drift slowly through the air and land gently on the side of a sleeping Triceratops, its tiny light illuminating the rough texture of the dinosaur's skin. This is the image of starlight on the scales, the faint silvery shimmer of the cosmos reflecting off the bodies of the giants. The massive herbivores are like hills in the darkness, their forms defined only by the way they block out the stars, vast shadows that breathe and radiate warmth. But where the starlight touches them, you see the glint of a horn, the shine of a claw, the glossy reflection on a beak, turning these animals into celestial beings, part of the landscape of the night. The silence is profound. The only sound is the vast, open hum of the universe, a silence that feels expansive, as if the roof has been taken off the world and you are free to float into the infinite. Looking at the stars gives you a sense of perspective that is incredibly calming, for when you look at the galaxy, your own problems, your deadlines, your stresses, they all shrink down until they are invisible, lost in the vastness of space and time. You are just a tiny part of this grand design, a traveler on the same planet that held the dinosaurs, spinning through the same solar system, protected by the same atmosphere. The light from those stars has traveled for thousands of years to reach your eyes, a messenger from the past, and as you close your eyes, you can imagine that light washing over you, a bath of cosmic photons that cleanses your spirit. The connection is real. The North Star that guided the Pterosaurs is the same star that holds true for you. The band of the galaxy that watched over the T-Rex is the same band that watches over your roof. You are not alone in the universe. You are part of a lineage of sleepers who have found peace under this sky. The air is fresh and filled with the scent of night-blooming flowers, ancient magnolias that open their petals only to the moon, releasing a perfume that is sweet and heavy, a natural sedative that fills the forest. You can imagine lying on your back in a safe, grassy clearing, the tall ferns forming a wall around you, looking up into the depth of the universe. You feel the rotation of the earth, a slow, majestic spin that turns the sky above you, the stars marching slowly from east to west, marking the passage of the night. There is no rush in the movement of the stars. They take their time, millions of years to move an inch, and this cosmic patience teaches you to be patient with yourself, to let sleep come when it is ready, not to force it.
The moon might be rising now, a giant cratered orb that looks slightly larger than it does today because it was closer to the Earth back then, casting a silver light that turns the world into a monochrome photograph, a place of shadows and silver light. The moonlight washes over the sleeping herds, painting them in shades of gray. unifying the landscape into a peaceful whole. The bioluminescent beetles continue their dance, silent and mesmerizing, weaving trails of light through the dark air. You are drifting in this sea of stars, floating in the dark waters of the night sky. The coolness of the air is balanced by the warmth of your bed, a perfect contrast that signals safety and comfort. You feel light, as if you could float up and join the stars, becoming a point of light yourself. The shared night sky is a blanket that covers all of history, a common roof for all living things. You are sleeping under the same roof as the dinosaurs, sharing the same quiet hours. The light of the Milky Way is a river of milk that feeds your dreams, a stream of peace that flows into your mind. You are far away from the noise of the day, far away from the lights of the city. You are in the deep, dark, star-filled past. The vastness of the universe cradles you. The millions of stars are like millions of guardian angels, watching, waiting, shining. The scales of the sleeping dinosaurs shimmer like constellations on the ground. As above, so below. The peace of the sky becomes the peace of your mind. You are drifting deeper into the cosmos, deeper into the velvet darkness, guided by the starlight, held by the gravity of the earth, connected to the ancient ones by the simple act of looking up. The night is long, the stars are bright, and the sleep is deep. You are under the Milky Way, and you are home.
Now that your spirit has floated among the stars and bathed in the ancient light of the Milky Way, I want you to gently bring your awareness back down from the heavens, descending slowly through the layers of the atmosphere, past the sleeping clouds, past the soaring cliffs, and down into the very foundation of the world itself. Because tonight, we are going to meditate on the deepest and most comforting force of all, which is the earth beneath us. Leave the animals to their dreams and let your mind sink deeper than the roots of the trees, deeper than the fossilized bones, down into the bedrock, down into the crust of the planet, where we find the slow and majestic movement of the continents. We are entering the realm of deep time, a concept so vast that it makes the minutes and hours of your day dissolve into nothingness, leaving you with a profound sense of peace and perspective. In this Cretaceous world, the map of the Earth looks different than the one you know, specifically the continent of North America, which is not one solid landmass, but is split in two by that great inland sea we visited earlier, creating two massive island continents known as Laramidia on the west and Appalachia on the east. But the land is not static. It is alive in a way that is so slow it feels like absolute stillness. And this is the most relaxing truth of geology, that the ground beneath your feet is constantly moving, constantly drifting, but at a pace that is so patient it defies human comprehension. Imagine the tectonic plates, those massive rafts of stone upon which the continents ride, floating on the deep, hot, semi-liquid mantle of the Earth, moving at the speed that fingernails grow, just a few centimeters a year. This movement is the definition of patience. It is a movement without urgency, a journey without a destination. And visualizing this slow drift helps you to slow down your own internal clock. The Earth is in no rush to rearrange itself, and neither should you be in a rush to figure out your life, for everything happens in its own time, in its own season. As you lie in your bed, I want you to feel the solidity of the floor beneath you, the foundation of your home, the bedrock of your city, and realize that you are anchored to a massive spinning sphere that has been enduring for 4.5 billion years.
This is the comfort of endurance, the knowledge that the Earth has seen everything. It has seen the fire, it has seen the ice, it has seen the dinosaurs rise and fall, and through it all, it has remained steady and supportive. You are held by this ancient strength, supported by the same gravity that held the Tyrannosaurus to the ground, a force that is constant and unwavering. Imagine the Rocky Mountains in their infancy, slowly rising from the earth, inch by inch, pushing up towards the sky, not with violence, but with a relentless, silent determination. These mountains are the bones of the continent, and they are sleeping too, locked in a slumber of stone that lasts for eons. The silence of the geology is a heavy silence, a silence that absorbs all noise and all vibration, grounding you completely. You can imagine the North American continent slowly drifting west, pulling away from Europe, opening up the Atlantic Ocean, a divorce of land masses that takes millions of years to complete.
There is no drama in this movement, only the inevitable flow of nature. It is a slow dance of stone, a ballet of bedrock. The stress of your modern life operates on a timescale of seconds and minutes, but the Earth operates on a timescale of eras and epochs, and by tuning in to this frequency of deep time, you can detach from the frantic pace of the human world. The problems that seemed so big during the day become microscopic when placed against the backdrop of drifting continents. You are safe here, resting on the back of a planet that knows how to survive. The heat from the Earth's core radiates up through the mantle, through the crust, and into the soil, a planetary warmth that keeps the world alive. And you can imagine that warmth seeping into your bed, a geothermal comfort that relaxes your muscles from the inside out. The tectonic plates are like giant hands cupping the oceans and the lands, holding everything in place with a firm grip. The collision of these plates is what builds the mountains, but tonight we focus on the drift, the smooth and silent gliding over the mantle. It is a feeling of being carried, just as you are carried by a train or a plane, but this vehicle is the Earth itself, and the ride is perfectly smooth. You do not have to hold yourself up, the Earth does it for you. You do not have to steer, the universe does it for you. You can relinquish all control, give up all responsibility for the next few hours, and just be a passenger on this beautiful, drifting rock. The sediment settles on the ocean floor, layer by layer, grain of sand by grain of sand, burying the past, creating the history books of the future. This layering is a slow, rhythmic process. Settle and wait, settle and wait, covering the secrets of the deep, creating order out of chaos. You can feel your own layers of stress settling down, falling away like sediment, leaving your mind clear and calm. The concept of deep time is a lullaby for the soul, whispering that you have time, that there is enough time, that the rush is an illusion. The dinosaurs walking on the surface are unaware of the massive movements happening miles beneath their feet, just as you are unaware of the spinning of the planet. But the movement is there, guiding everything. The stability of the ground is not an absence of movement, but a balance of forces, a perfect equilibrium that allows life to flourish. You are part of that life, a fleeting but precious moment in the long story of the Earth. The continents are like sleeping giants themselves, vast and sprawling, covered in the blanket of the atmosphere, drifting through the dark ocean of space. The western interior seaway is slowly closing, the land is slowly rising, the world is slowly changing, but it is happening so gradually that it feels like peace. This perception of stillness is what allows us to sleep. If the world felt like it was spinning, we would be dizzy, but gravity anchors us,
giving us the illusion of a stationary world, a safe platform on which to rest.
You feel heavy, grounded, magnetized to the bed. The pull of the earth is a hug, a constant embrace that never lets go. From the center of the iron core to the top of the highest mountain, the earth is one continuous connected system, and you are resting on the surface of that system, protected by the layers of rock and soil. The patience of stone is contagious. Be like the stone. Be heavy. Be still. Be silent. Let the world turn without your help. Let the continents drift without your supervision. Your only job right now is to rest, to let your body repair itself, to let your mind wander through the vast corridors of time. The landscape of the Cretaceous is moving, the geography is shifting, but for tonight, for this moment, everything is right where it needs to be. You are right where you need to be. The slow drift is a cradle rocking you, so slowly you can't even feel it, but your soul knows it is there. The vibration of the tectonic plates is a hum so low it is below the threshold of hearing, a bass note for the symphony of the planet. You are syncing with the geological clock, a clock that ticks once every million years. In this state of mind, there is no late, there is no early, there is just now. The ancient earth is a patient mother, waiting for you to sleep, holding you steady while you dream. The land of Laramidia is lush and green. The land of Appalachia is old and worn, and between them the water reflects the stars, and underneath it all the plates are moving, 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 carrying the story forward. You are drifting with them. You are sliding into the deep, dark, comfortable silence of the earth. The weight of the planet is a comforting weight, a blanket of gravity that keeps you safe. You are as enduring as the stone, as deep as the ocean, as patient as the mountains. The slow drift of the continents is the ultimate sleep story, a story that never ends, a story of quiet power and eternal rest. You are floating on the mantle of your dreams, supported by the crust of reality, drifting, drifting, drifting towards the dawn of a new era. But for now, there is only the slow, sweet, heavy stillness of the stone.
And now, as the slow drift of the continents carries us further along the river of time, we reach the final chapter of our journey. A chapter not of endings, but of transformation, where the vibrant greens of the forest and the deep blues of the ocean slowly fade into the comforting grays and browns of the earth itself. We are moving from the breathing world into the silent world, from the beat of the heart to the stillness of the rock, entering the realm of fossilized dreams. The great dinosaurs, the titans of the canopy, and the kings of the plains have finished their long watch. They have walked their miles, they have raised their young, and now they lay their heavy heads down one last time, surrendering their bodies to the mud and the sand, allowing the earth to embrace them in a hug that will last forever. This is the miracle of preservation, the relaxing truth that nothing in this universe is ever truly lost. It simply changes form. It simply slows down until it stops completely, becoming a part of the planet's history. Imagine the sleeping T-Rex we visited earlier. Imagine him sinking slowly into the soft sediment of a riverbed, covered gently by layers of fine silt, a blanket of earth that gets thicker and thicker as the centuries pass. The water that flows over him carries minerals, silica and iron, tiny particles of stone that seep into his bones, molecule by molecule, replacing the organic with the eternal. It is a slow, magical alchemy, turning bone into rock, turning life into a statue, preserving the shape and the dignity of the animal for all time. As you visualize this process, I want you to feel your own body becoming as heavy and as still as those fossilized bones.
feeling the weight of your limbs sinking into the mattress, becoming solid, becoming grounded, becoming immovable. You are returning to the silence of stone, a silence that is absolute and impenetrable, a silence where no noise from the outside world can reach you. The earth is a vault, a safe deposit box for dreams, and the dinosaurs are sleeping safely inside it, protected from the wind and the rain and the changing seasons. They are not gone, they are just waiting, sleeping in the stone, and knowing that they are still there, deep beneath our feet, gives us a sense of connection to the deep past. Think of the colors of the fossils, the deep, rich browns, the obsidians, the creamy whites, and sometimes, when the conditions are just right, the shimmering opals, turning the bones into jewels that catch the light. This is the beauty of rest, the beauty of being still for so long that you become a jewel. The layers of sediment above them are like the blankets on your bed, layer upon layer of protection, heavy and warm. First a layer of sand, then a layer of mud, then a layer of ash, each one pressing down with a gentle, uniform weight, packing the earth tight, creating a cocoon of pressure that feels like a swaddle. You can feel that pressure now, the comforting weight of gravity holding you down, the feeling of being tucked in by the universe. The chaotic energy of the living world has dissipated, replaced by the stability of the mineral world. Stone does not worry, stone does not rush, stone does not feel anxiety. Stone simply is. And in this moment, you can be like the stone. You can let your mind calcify, turning your racing thoughts into still monoliths.
Silent pebbles that sink to the bottom of a clear lake. You can let your muscles turn to granite, heavy and relaxed, releasing all the tension they have held onto during the day. The transition from flesh to stone is a transition from activity to peace. The dinosaurs have become the bedrock of our world, the foundation upon which we live, and in a way they are holding us up, supporting us in our sleep. When you visit a museum and see their skeletons standing tall, you are looking at a traveler who has journeyed through millions of years of silence to be there, a testament to the power of endurance. But tonight we do not see them standing, we see them as they were found, curled up in the rock, sleeping the eternal sleep. The concept of deep time, which we spoke of earlier, now wraps around you completely, a blanket of 66 million years that muffles every sound. The noise of the traffic, the hum of the refrigerator, the ticking of the clock, it all fades away in the presence of the fossil record. There is only the dark, cool, quiet underground. Imagine you are resting in a cave of crystal, deep within the earth, where the temperature is constant and cool, where the air is still and pure. You are surrounded by the spirits of the giants, not as ghosts, but as guardians in the rock. The process of fossilization is slow. It takes patience, and it teaches us to be patient with our own sleep. You do not have to force it. You just have to lie there and let the natural process take over. Let the sleep seep into you like the minerals seep into the bone, filling every pore, every space, until you are solid sleep. The stillness is spreading through your body now, starting at your toes and moving up your legs, turning them to heavy stone, moving up your torso, calming your heart, moving down your arms, making your hands feel like heavy weights resting on the bed. Your neck relaxes, your jaw unclenches, your face becomes smooth and expressionless like a beautiful carving. You are a statue of peace. The history of the world is a story of cycles, of waking and sleeping, of living and becoming stone, and you are part of that cycle. The dinosaurs had their time in the sun, and now they have their time in the stone.
and you have had your day, and now you have your night. It is time to join them in the bedrock. It is time to let go of the animation of life and embrace the suspension of sleep. The earth is holding you, just as it holds the fossils. It cradles you in its gravitational field, keeping you from floating away. You are safe here. You are preserved. Nothing is lost in the night. Your energy is simply resting, gathering strength for the morning, just as the fossils gather strength from the stone.
The image of the good mother lizard on her nest, the king curled in the sand, the glider on the cliff, they are all frozen in time now, captured in the rock, sleeping forever in the perfect posture of rest. You can join them. You can visualize yourself sinking down through the mattress, down through the floor, down into the warm, dark earth, curling up next to a sleeping Triceratops in a bed of sandstone. The smell is of dust and old paper and dry earth, a smell that is dry and clean. The darkness is total, a velvety black that soothes the optic nerve. There is no need to see anything anymore. There is no need to hear anything anymore. There is only the feeling of weight. Heavy, heavy, heavy. You are fossilized in your dreams, captured in a moment of perfect relaxation. The world above continues to spin. The cities continue to buzz, but you are down here in the quiet, safe and sound. The silence of the stone is a healing silence. It draws out the toxins of stress and leaves only the purity of rest. You are returning to the source, returning to the dust from which we all came, but in the most comforting way possible. You are not disappearing. You are becoming solid. You are becoming eternal. The legacy of the dinosaurs is not just their size, but their peace, the peace they found in the earth. Let that peace wash over you now. Let the sediment of sleep cover you. One layer for your tired eyes, one layer for your busy mind, one layer for your weary heart. You are buried in comfort. You are encased in safety. The story is ending now. The book is closing. The pages are turning to stone. The voice is fading, becoming a distant echo in the cavern of your mind. There are no more words needed. There is only the feeling of being ancient, the feeling of being rock, the feeling of being asleep. The dinosaurs are waiting for you in the dream time, the gentle giants, the peaceful vegetarians, the sleeping kings. They welcome you to the silence. They welcome you to the dark. You are safe. You are heavy. You are stone. Sleep now. Sleep in the history. Sleep in the rock. Deep, deep, deep sleep. The journey is over. The rest has begun. Good night, traveler. Good night, giant. Good night, stone. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Fossilized, silence, peace, forever.